Welcome in. This is the women's basketball postgame show. Nebraska women's hoops gets their 17th win of the season, 76-61 over the Lady Lions of Penn State. Yes, they are the Lady Lions, not the Nittany Lions. They win 76-61. Jazz Shelley gets her sixth triple-double of the season in a game where we'll talk about this.
Double-double.
Double-double. She almost got a triple-double.
I say six triple-double, man. That's
my bad. Six double-double. Almost got a triple-double because she was on triple-double watch in the first half. And so, really impressive game the whole way through. As always, 402-464-5685. Feel free to chime into the post-game show. We'll be here for an hour, so we'll be hanging out with you guys till 11 o'clock. It's Nick and Rico. So it's kind of like the happy hour, but instead of all the randomness that comes along with that every day, this is centered on Nebraska women's basketball and their 76-61 win against Penn State. Like I said, they moved to 17-4 on the season. They finished this little 4-game homestand with 4 wins. And it's kind of crazy to think about. I mean, they had a 4-game homestand, Rico, where they played Rutgers, Wisconsin, Penn State, and there's one more in there that I'm missing. But they played these guys.
Purdue.
Thank you, Purdue. And they win 77-44, 81-66, 50-38, and now 76-61. Game's not even close. So when DP and I have talked about this before, but when we're talking about the strides that this team has made compared to last year's team, they're not playing down to competition. They are beating the teams that they are supposed to beat in convincing fashion, and they're doing it every single night out when they're supposed to.
Yes, they're not, dropping their performances to anybody's standards. They're not raising their performances to anybody's standards. They are playing exactly the type of game they want to play game in and game out. And it's very impressive because even with that Rutgers game where they couldn't shoot really to save their lives, the way that this team plays defense, it helps. It helps, defense travels. You could see that with Rutgers. Defense travels, so it helps them that, on days where they're not shooting well, they can still load up and keep people from scoring the ball. And on days where they are shooting well, again, they can load up and stop people from scoring the ball. So this wasn't their greatest shooting night, but it was still really good, and they played some fantastic defense, given that Penn State has the second best scorer in the conference.
Well, what I will say is the game against Rutgers, we talked, in depth about it. Rutgers is a very solid defensive team. So I'm taking that one, the shooting performance in that one with a kind of a grain of salt. But when we talk about their defense, let's talk about that a little bit. Once again, 402-464-5685. Feel free to head over to the Starter Heyman Jewelers video stream if you're not already there, and check us out there. But and we can throw your comment up on the screen as well. But Nebraska, once again, their defense kind of led them helped them down the stretch close out Penn State. And what I mean, they held Penn State 0 of their last 8 from the field, 1 of their last 10. And get this, they went into the fourth quarter with a marginal lead. And they did not allow a field goal in the last 7 minutes and 16 minutes of play. And so when you're talking about closing out an opponent, we talked about it with Rutgers, we talked about it with Purdue, even though those games were won by a bigger margin. When you hold your opponent to no field goals in the last 7 minutes of game time, that's over 3/4 of the quarter that you're holding your opponent to no points.
That is some
no
field
goals,
defense.
I should say. And it doesn't matter who's on the floor, whether it's Allison Widener, whether it's Jazz Shelley, whether it's Sam Hybe, Ashley Scoggin, whether it's Annika Stewart or Alexis Markowski, or deciding whether or not to go with Izzy Bourne or Bella Cravens. It does not matter. Once again, Amy Williams, in her 6th season here, changed up the starting lineup again. She decided to go with Bourne and Markowski, where also moments before, they actually switched it up just a couple moments before tip-off. It was going to be Cravens and Markowski.
Mm-hmm.
They switched it up, went Bourne and Markowski instead. And Isabel Bourne finished with a pretty solid game, came out shooting extremely well. They were feeding her early. Nebraska was really getting into the post early on, developing that presence down low, whether it was with Izzy Bourne or Alexis Markowski. Bourne finishes 14 points, 7 of 13 from the field, with 9 rebounds, 1 shy of a double-double in 29 minutes of play. Alexis Markowski adds 18 of her own, 6 of 14 from the field, gets to the free throw for 11 free throws, 6 of 11 there at the line. Only 4 rebounds for her. She struggled a little bit with fouling down low on the other end, but in 28 minutes of play, so you cannot be too disappointed with that one.
And the free throws would have been much better. There was a point during the game where she missed 3 or 4 straight, but she was shooting at a much higher clip from the free throw line. She's been doing a lot better from the free throw line these last couple of games, and also from the 3-point from outside 3-point land. Although she didn't attempt one this game, but the way that they've been able to feed the post and feed Markowski born Cravens down low and not only feed them for scores, but feed them to then, make plays out of the paint. It seems as if when this women's basketball team gets it down into the paint and kicks it back out, they're shooting a higher percentage. I couldn't tell you if that is true, but it almost seems that way because it gets down into the paint, and with the way that these women have been playing, the teams are collapsing. Like if you get the ball to Markowski down low, chances are if they leave it one-on-one, she's going to score. So teams have started collapsing. She's realized that she's not forcing shots up. She's kicking it out, and Nebraska's hitting those threes or pump faking, getting in and hitting those mid-range jump shots.
We talk about kind of putting the clamps down in the second half and in the fourth quarter especially, and Nebraska, they didn't just do it on defense. They really started to pull away. Third quarter was interesting just because they allowed Penn State to kind of get back into it. Once again, a small lead or a small differential heading into the fourth quarter. I can't remember off the top of my head how much it was. At the end of the day, though, they come out in the fourth quarter alone, shoot 53% from the field. Markowski has 8 in the fourth quarter alone. Allison Widener shoots 3 of 4 from the field, 4 of 4 from the free throw line, drops 10 points in the final 10 minutes of game time, which is the fourth quarter. So when you're looking at that, I mean, they had 10 points off the bench, which all came from Allison Widener in that fourth quarter. But in that final period of play, it's Allison Widener and Alexis Markowski, 2 true freshmen stepping up. And that's a whole nother conversation that I want to get into, is that this team is extremely young. Now, they're not inexperienced at this point.
No.
They're extremely young. Why are they not inexperienced? Well, because Alexis Markowski has started a couple times in a row now. Alexis Markowski's also been Big Ten Freshman of the Week 5 times and has a strong case already for Big Ten Freshman of the Year, and we're still have a quarter of the season left. Allison Widener has kind of shown the ability to bring her spark off the bench, and she's embraced that role, and she's starting to feel a little more confident in that offense, running that offense. There was one point in the fourth quarter where Allison Widener got the ball in the corner on an inbounds pass with Nebraska, I believe, up 2. And this was a stretch where Allison Widener dropped 4 points straight. She got the ball right in front of Nebraska's bench with 4.4 seconds left on the shot clock. And with that, the bench is counting down how much time's left on the shot clock. 2 Penn State guards crashed. She decided to take her time. She understood how much time she had, right? Being aware, that awareness we talk about. And she drove and hit a floater instead of taking a 3 ball. Not saying that she's bad from beyond the arc. It's just a higher percentage shot. And when you're only up 2, that's definitely the better shot to take. And so that gave Nebraska a 4-point lead. Then she came down off of a turnover, I believe, and dropped another deuce as well. And that extended Nebraska's lead to 6. And it all started with her staying calm and staying composed on an inbound pass with 4.4 seconds left on the shot clock.
Widener started the season, a little wild. She would come into the game and kind of try and do too much. As the season has progressed, she's realized what her role with this team is, how she's, kind of leading the second unit, not really, taking the reins, but she's kind of, the pseudo point guard for that second unit. And when she comes off the bench into the game, they are asking her for energy. They're asking her, you don't have to score to provide energy, but playing the suffocating defense that we know you can play, hustling for the ball, diving for loose balls, just calling things out and just being around the ball at all times is something that she does extremely well. And the energy that she brings to this team coming off of the bench is nothing short of amazing. And you've seen it in the past 2 games, especially as you said in this one, where she dropped 4 straight points and made a very, very veteran decision in that corner with the shot clock, coming down. Not any other freshman, but a lot of other freshmen might have taken that shot. She had room. She could have taken the 3,
that's the
but
thing.
she knew she had more time, and she realizes I'm not the strongest 3-point shooter. She can shoot and make those, but she's not the strongest 3-point shooter. Her real what she's really good at is driving to the bucket and getting 2-point layups or 2-point floaters. So what she realized she could do is split the guards, and if she did that, maybe there won't be anybody in the paint. And sure enough, there wasn't anybody there waiting for her, and she got the easy 2.
Head coach Amy Williams said after the game on Allison Widener and Alexis Markowski, quote, "I love those 2 freshmen. They really have a lot of energy for our team, and their personalities just really spark our team. They've had a lot of success out here on this court, and I think they take a lot of pride in wanting to win here." I think that's a big thing. And when Alexis Markowski gets introduced in the starting lineups, this is not just because she's playing extremely well, possibly the best on the team in recent games, definitely the best post player in recent games in terms of stats specifically. But Alexis Markowski gets the biggest applause, and and a big part of that is because she's a homegrown Husker. She's from here in Lincoln, went to Pius, won the Gatorade Player of the Year last year, and she was one of the players that you knew she was going to play a role in what Nebraska wanted to do, but you didn't know to the extent. And DP and I have kind of talked about this freshman wall, and DP said it as well as anybody on Tuesday night after their win against Rutgers, was that Alexis Markowski has blown through that wall. She's busted through it with a hammer, and it's not even in her sight anymore. That wall. Now, that's not to say that there's not going to be some hiccups in the road, and there might not be some speed bumps where she has to still get over. And like tonight, offensively, she did just fine, dropping 18 points. However, 4 rebounds. And with that being said, the Big Ten's extremely physical, and she had to deal with that tonight. But she was a big focal point right out of the gate. And so it's a lot of fun to see a homegrown Husker, a Lincoln grad, play well and be the, I don't want to say leader, because I don't know if there is one you can point to that each game in and out, there's this leader on the team. But in terms of points, she's going out and leading
focus.
Yes, she's a big part of the offense.
Yes.
Like I go back and think about Jessica Shepard, who ended up transferring away, but she was from Fremont and ended up transferring away, yes, to Notre Dame, where she had a career. I believe she got drafted eventually to the WNBA as well. But that was one of those where it was, all right, this player's from Nebraska, and here we go. She's a top 50 recruit in the country, Jessica Shepard, and then she eventually went on to Notre Dame. So now that we're having, I mean, it's great to have one if you're a Nebraska fan, but now you have 2 in Allison Widener and Alexis Markowski, and that's not even mentioning the big role Whitney Brown plays despite not being on the court. Last year, Whitney Brown was a walk-on from Grand Island, played big minutes because she had to, because this team was not as deep as they are this year. Last year,
they were decimated by injuries last year.
Well, and you have the uncertainty of COVID and all that happening. You did not know what to expect going into each game last year. So Whitney Brown plays a role in games last year, but now this year, not playing as much, not playing nearly at all. But she's okay with it, and that's something that you can categorize this whole team by, is that they're okay with taking smaller roles. They're okay with embracing their specific role, whether that's Izzy Bourne and Bella Cravens being okay and embracing the idea that, all right, one player might get 24 minutes and I'm just going to get 15 tonight. Or this player started last game. That doesn't mean that she's going to start next game. Like, understanding the idea and how Amy Williams runs her program, I think a big part of that is transparency from the coaching staff to the players, and understanding that, listen, nothing is guaranteed. Alexis Markowski, despite her being Big Ten Freshman of the Week 5 times, nothing's guaranteed. It's really fascinating when you break it down to the nuts and bolts of it and see it all goes back to the coaches and the players being on the same page, and everything stems from that. It's not hard to imagine why they're 17-4.
The amount of trust that this team has for their coaching staff, and they've shown it, as you've said, is remarkable, because you had Izzy Bourne and Bella Cravens starting the season. You had a freshman coming off the bench and providing you good minutes, and then Bella Cravens goes down with an injury. They insert Markowski into the starting lineup, and she blows up. She takes the starting lineup, or she takes the starting job and says, "This is mine. I'm not letting it go." And Bella Cravens and Izzy Bourne are just like, "All right, cool. One of us is going to come off the bench with that second unit." And it was Izzy Bourne the past couple of games, and she's thrived. She has thrived coming off the bench.
Well, I think a big part of that is with Izzy Bourne coming off the bench. If you remember coming into the year, it was all right. Izzy Bourne's going to be the post player on this team.
Mhm.
And that's kind of shifted now, not because of Izzy Bourne's bad play, because that hasn't been existent. It's because of Markowski's pleasantly surprising good play and strong play. Yeah, stellar. That's a good word for it. And so then if you're Izzy Bourne, if you have a conversation with the coaches, and kind of a couple of us have been talking or we're talking when we're watching the game and kind of seeing, okay, Bella and Markowski are starting down low and Izzy Bourne's not coming in till, the 6-minute mark in the first quarter. And what does this mean? And why would they decide to approach this? Well, the kind of consensus thought is, and Amy's talked about this as well. Coach Williams has mentioned this. It gives Izzy Bourne an opportunity to be more active in the offensive game if she comes out when Markowski or Bella Cravens isn't out there, because now they feel comfortable, and rightfully so. They feel strong enough to go to Markowski time after time. And if you have Markowski and Bourne, that's like the two-headed monster right there. Is if they're on the floor together, which they were at sometimes tonight, then it's great. You have two fantastic options. But if you have you stagger them or you switch off, then you go Izzy Bourne, who can extend the floor as well. She can shoot the three ball to a certain extent. And then you have Markowski, who at one point had hit 10 of her 14 threes.
She's developed a really good 3-point shot.
And like she was able to hit him in high school, Markowski was, but I don't know if personally I saw her shooting it to the extent of success that she's finding at this level.
If you were to tell me that Alexis Markowski was going to hit 10 of 14 threes at one point in college for Nebraska, I don't know if I would have believed you.
Yeah.
I know she can shoot it. Obviously she can shoot it. She did it in high school, as you just said. But if I were an opposing coach before this season, if you're telling me Markowski's, loading up for a three, I'm allowing that. I'm letting her shoot that.
Yeah.
But with the way that she's been shooting and the way that she has her low post presence and the low post moves that she has, I'm not even going to say develop. She's had those, her footwork and everything, the touch she has around the rim. She's had those. So the way that she's had that and that she's developed the 3-point shot has just made her that much more dangerous. And you add into the fact that, oh, by the way, Izzy Bourne, when she's in the game, can also hit threes and will also kill you down low. It's the perfect storm for a team that is filled with shooters.
I thought it was really interesting. I believe Nebraska, looking a little offensively before we take our first time out here, Nebraska against Rutgers, they took over 33s, I believe. I want to say the number was 31 to be exact, and they did not shoot well from beyond the arc. Part of that is fatigue. I mean, they're in the middle of a stretch where they played a game on Sunday, then Tuesday, and then they had to bounce back and play one tonight. And so part of that's understandable because your legs are tired and your feet aren't under you all the time. But they took 31 threes in their win against Rutgers, where they only scored 50 points against a strong Rutgers defense. Well, tonight, and it was apparent from the get-go, they went to the rack quite a bit more and quite a bit more often. They outscored Penn State in the paint 40-24. So they had 21 fast break points as well. They had 7 steals. Here's a big one. 23 assists. 23.
They didn't score a basket, not off an assist. I'm trying to figure out how to word this.
Yeah.
The first basket they scored that wasn't off of an assist was with 5 minutes and 40 seconds left in the third quarter. Every basket up until then was off of an assist.
It's remarkable to think about the way and the sharing ability that this women's basketball program shows each night. And I want to get into that. And one player I really want to talk about is Jazz Shelley. So let's go ahead and take a little bit of an early break. When we come back, we'll talk about the Jazz Shelley, her stellar performance. We'll go up and down the roster, talk a little bit about Penn State as well. One of the players that gave Nebraska struggles tonight, but we'll focus on Nebraska and kind of the stat lines throughout up and down the roster for head coach Amy Williams as Nebraska gets a 76-61 win over Penn State for their 17th win of the season. We'll be back in a couple minutes on the Nebraska Women's Basketball Postgame Show on 93.7 The Ticket.
Today on Hey Culligan, unnecessary contaminants. Here's the referee.
Hey Culligan, that's a flag on my water for flagrant foul taste.
Ooh, that's a tough one, ref, but the solution is a Culligan Smart RO drinking water system that reduces up to 58 contaminants, making your water safer and delicious.
Yeah, I guess I missed that call.
And with the Culligan Connect app, you always know when your filters need changing.
The water's up and it's good.
Good call, ref, and we're already on the way.
Try a Culligan water softener for just $9.95 per month. Go to CulliganLincoln.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
I was in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean when it happened. There was a sudden jolt and our submarine crashed on the seafloor. We were in total darkness.
That's Dr. Dejana Figueroa, a marine biologist and STEM teacher, talking about a deep sea dive she'll never forget.
It's funny, when I was a kid, I was afraid of the ocean. And there I was, 2 miles below the surface. But as a scientist, you prepare for that. Using our training and a little creativity, we fixed the sub and finished our experiments. The dive was just too important. Every dive gives us glimpses at things few people ever get to see. Glowing creatures, fiery undersea volcanoes. When we got back to the surface, I kissed the ground and called my mom, of course. But you know what? I wouldn't trade that dive for anything.
Dr. Figueroa uses her passion for STEM to discover new things and make the world a better place. She can STEM, so can you. Check out She Can STEM for more stories and inspiration. A message from the Ad Council.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric always makes safety a top priority for our home and office. In under just 1 hour, their team installed the state-of-the-art air scrubber system directly into our existing HVAC ductwork. This technology purifies the air and reduces exposure to common bacteria and viruses, creating a safer breathing environment for my family. Action delivers honest quality services we can count on. To learn more, visit actionlincoln.com.
You spend more time in your garage than outdoors in the wintertime. Isn't it time to get it organized? Call Travis at Classic Garage Solutions for his variety of organization packages. Turn your garage from a cluttered mess to a clean, organized space that'll be the envy of the neighborhood and something you can be proud of. You don't need to bring the same clutter from last year into the new year. Travis has storage options for cabinets, monkey bar shelving, or slat wall, and more. Call Classic Garage Solutions today at 402-730-1638.
Fruitcakes are just for Christmas, right? Gosh, I feel sorry for you. I mean, what if we had done that with bacon? Bacon is only for breakfast. We'd never have bacon cheeseburgers. We'd never be able to save a salad by adding bacon bits. We'd never have Brinner. That's breakfast for dinner. Don't limit yourself. Fruitcakes for St. Patrick's Day. Fruitcakes for graduation. Fruitcakes for Thursday. Beatrice Bakery and Grandma's Fruitcakes are perfect for every occasion. Check them out in downtown Beatrice or online at beatricebakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum.
Happy Hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez-Clary.
You just kind of feel a little more settled with a guy like Trev Alberts leading the way. I think that's a big part of it.
Trev Alberts is like a mix of the two. He knows the business side of it. He knows what needs to get done, how to make money, how to spend money, etc. You know, whatever you got to do there as an athletic director. Then on the personal level, he wants to get to know the coaches.
I think a good description for Trev is that he understands how important relationships are.
Weekdays from 2 to 3 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Breakfast tacos, brisket tacos, pork tacos, chicken tacos. You hungry yet? I can keep going. Pork or chicken, queso nachos, queso mac and cheese, hatch mac burritos. Now you're salivating. Muchachos is Lincoln's premier New Mexico barbecue fusion restaurant. You can't miss them in their bright blue building. Pair that great food with delicious coffee for breakfast and a variety of local and national beers on tap the rest of the day. Order your food online at yomuchacho.com or visit them in person at Muchachos on South 11th Street between L and K Streets.
They say one great thing leads to another, and that's especially true when you visit a Great Clips salon. When you sit down for a haircut with the skilled and friendly stylist at one of our thousands of convenient Great Clips locations, they'll not only make your hair look great, they'll make you feel great too. And that's something you can't help but share with the world. Download our online check-in app today and opt in to get a Ready Next text when you're up next. Great clips. It's going to be great.
And we're live here outside the Perez family home, just waiting for and there they go. Almost on time this morning. Mom is coming out the front door strong with a double-arm kid carry. Looks like Dad has the bags. Daughter is bringing up the rear. Oh, but the diaper bag wasn't closed. Diapers and toys are everywhere. Ooh, but Mom has just nailed the perfect car seat buckle for the toddler. And now the eldest daughter, who looks to be about 9 or 10, has secured herself in the booster seat. Dad zips the bag closed, and they're off. But looks like Mom doesn't realize her coffee cup is still on the roof of the car. And there it goes. Oh, that's a shame. That mug was a fam favorite.
Don't sweat the small stuff. Just nail the big stuff. Like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Learn more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now they've raised wages again, and they're hiring for production operators at $22.07 per hour. And other select jobs starting at $23.77 per hour, with wages growing up to $29.71 per hour. Continental also has salary jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates. To learn more or to apply, go to continental-jobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Mike Shaver here for Trek CBD. There's a lot of CBD shops opening up in Lincoln, but Trek CBD focuses on quality above all else. Their products are from local CBD company Nico Farms and are third-party laboratory tested. They have products that can help with stress, anxiety, pain, relief, and more, and have a wide selection of Delta 8, including Serene 8. Trek CBD is locally owned and operated. Go visit Scott or Shannon at their 84th and Highway 2 location or at 27th and S, or go online to Trek CBD with free delivery. Trek CBD. CBD done right.
Now back to the Husker women's basketball postgame show on 93.7 The Ticket.
All right, welcome back in. Nebraska women's basketball postgame show, taking you into the late hours of the night. We have just crossed 10:30 p.m. on your Thursday.
Of the night.
Yes. Nebraska women's basketball wins 76-61 over the Penn State Lady Lions. Nebraska improves to 17-4. Yes, 17-4 on the year, and they improve to 6-4 in the Big Ten Conference, with a very exciting and intriguing matchup looming on Sunday afternoon at 2 p.m. Against Maryland.
College Park
going on the road against Maryland after a 4-game homestand where they took all 4 games.
Maryland is coming off a pretty close victory over Michigan State.
Yes, you're right. I think a 6-point game on the road. Michigan State's is kind of surprising some folks.
Michigan State's been pushing some people.
And I was wrong.
And I know Nebraska, lost to Michigan State, but that was, you could, give the credit to Michigan State, but I'm gonna give the credit to Nebraska just having an off night that night.
I was wrong. Maryland's game against Nebraska is on noon. The post game will start at 2 p.m., I should say. Here's one thing about the game against Michigan State for Nebraska. That was one of those games where Nebraska played really, really bad. It was one of those games where you remembered that Nebraska women's basketball is human, and they did not shoot well, but then they kind of turned it on late, and they found themselves with 13 seconds left in a 1-possession ball game. And so they had a chance at the end, and they once again found themselves in a position to where they could maybe take a game away from Michigan State on the road. Once again, 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline, the Sutter Heyman text line. Feel free to contribute to the show that way throughout the rest of the hour, and then the Sutter Heyman Jewelers video stream. Appreciate you guys checking us out there on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. All right, Rico, let's go through some of the stat lines here.
All right,
for Nebraska women's basketball. Let's start just at the top, make our way down. We'll get through a couple players here before we have to take another timeout here in about 10 minutes or so. All right, let's start with Jazz Shelley. That's somebody I want to mention right off the bat, and there's no surprise there. It's nothing new. Jazz Shelley, what a performance once again, and not offensively distributing the ball. That's what I mean. And grabbing rebounds. We talk about Nebraska likes to, whether it's get out and run with their 21 fast break points tonight, or they like to try to get numbers like every team does, right? They guard rebounding is a big part in that, because then they're able to get out and run. Also, part of that is their bigs, when they do rebound, the guards being available and readily available to take the ball and take it up court with a little bit of head of steam. Shelley was on, I mentioned it right out of the gate. She was on triple-double watch in the first half because she had 7 assists. She had 0 points. But with Jazz Shelley, you can score in a heartbeat. But she had 7 assists and 9 rebounds with 4 minutes left in the second quarter. 7 assists and 9 rebounds. Her double-double tonight was not with points. It was with assists and rebounds.
The way that Jazz Shelley doesn't look to score immediately, and you can tell when she drives to the hoop, a lot of times, there's aside from the person guarding her, there's somebody waiting in the paint for her. So what she does is she always has her head up. She's always looking around, has her head on a swivel for literally anybody. It could be somebody out by the 3-point line. It could be one of the bigs who slips past their defender, and she, drops a beautiful little pocket pass, no look in between 2 defenders, like she did for Izzy Bourne today.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful pass. It was one of the best passes I've seen in a while. But she's always got her head up, and she's always looking for people, not really looking to score. And I love that about her, because she's not the point guard, but she's exactly what you're looking for in a true point guard. She can score when she needs to, when she wants to, but for the most part, she's looking to get everybody else on the team involved and keep everyone involved.
She's really impressive from beyond the arc, and this is something I kind of wanted to bring up. I want to bring up her season statistics from shooting behind the arc.
Isn't she top 15 or top 25 in the country?
So she's
and Ashley Scott.
So she's shooting 41% from beyond the arc. All right. And that's not necessarily for a lack. She's taken 110 3-pointers this season. So not for a lack of shooting, right? She's not shooting that high percentage because of not shooting, if that makes sense. Tonight she hit 2 threes. She hit multiple threes for the first time since the game against Michigan was back on was back on January 4th. So Nebraska has played 7 games since that last game against Michigan. And this was the first time since that she's hit 2 threes. Once again, it's not like she's shooting poor this season. She's shooting 41% from beyond the arc this year. And this was the second game. So that tells you that she's not looking to score the ball as much as she could. I think that's because she doesn't need to score the ball.
No.
What we talked about during the break, they don't need Jazz Shelley to go out and drop 15. They don't need Sam Hybe to go out and drop 20. They don't need Ashley Scoggin to hit 6 threes per game. They can, but they don't need it. And it's really, really fun to watch when they, and that's the kind of the phrase I keep going back to. It's really, really fun to watch how this team continues to grow, and how it time after time you're reminded each game they play, whether it's against Wisconsin or Michigan in a blowout win, or Rutgers in a tough fought win, that they do the same thing every single game, no matter who they're playing. It's part of the identity. We're going to shoot well, we're going to get good shots, and we're going to play strong defense, whether that includes no field goals allowed in the last 7 minutes and 16 seconds to be specific, or we're just going to stomp on the gas and we're going to run you out of the building because we feel like it, and we're able to.
They can switch up their style during a game and whatever they need to do. And lately what they've been doing reminds me kind of, they've got an old school feel to them. They play through their bigs. They're asking their bigs to do most of the scoring. They're, mostly post moves and playing strong defense. They're not going to allow you to score, and they're going to live by twos. Well, earlier in the season, they were dropping 100 bombs every other game. And they were asking Jazz Shelley. Well, they weren't asking Jazz Shelley, but Jazz Shelley was scoring out of her mind. And as the season has gone on, as you got into Big Ten play, she realized, I don't have to score. What I can do is set these bigs up for easy buckets which then opens up the 3-point line for a fantastic shooter like Ashley Scoggin, which then opens up the driving lanes for a fantastic scorer like Sam Hybe. And, if I need to, I can get in the lane, do my scoring, or shoot from deep also. So everything that she does sets up things later on in the game for this Nebraska basketball team, and it's beautiful.
It's a lot of fun to kind of watch it unfold. They just keep going back to what works, and that also speaks to their depth, right? The depth that they're able to stomp on the gas when they get into crunch time is because they're able to bring in players like Bella Cravens. They're able to bring in a player like Izzy Bourne and their fresh legs. They're able to bring in a player like Ruby Porter, who hasn't played all that much in recent games, only 10 minutes tonight in their win against Penn State, but still provides that spark of experience and knowledge of what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And she epitomizes that. Ruby Porter does. Annika Stewart's a freshman who shot poorly tonight, only played 6 minutes, but has dropped 21 points before because she's caught fire, and that's just what happens. And they fed the hot hand. Like, this team is so deep that they're able to bring fresh legs out in 4.5 minutes left in the game. Even if it's not your starters. Hey, surprise, Izzy Bourne, who was a starter last year and was supposed to be the player this year, down low. Hey, guess what? She's been sitting the last 3 minutes and she's ready to go in crunch time against your big that has 4 fouls. So, like, things like that is what's going to allow Nebraska to have success when we get into the Big Ten tournament and they're having to play games back to back, and they're having to play games in March Madness with short spurts in between. We saw it in this 4-game homestand when they played Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Legs, fatigue. That was one thing I was looking for tonight. Fatigue. How are their legs doing? They came out, they shot well, they played hard defense, and they fought through the fatigue, because I'm sure their legs are hurting.
Oh yeah, if they were tired, they didn't really show it towards the end of the game. But
you're absolutely right.
So we're sitting here, we're building them up, we're talking about how great they are. One thing that I do have issue with this Nebraska men's basketball team, they do not handle full court or half court pressure well at all.
You're right.
They need to find a way to break the press, because what they're doing right now is not working. You've seen it in the last 2-3 games. A team has decided, you know what we're going to do? We're going to pressure the inbounder. We're going to pressure you as soon as you get the ball in, and we're going to see if you can figure it out. Mm-hmm. And when teams do that, Nebraska gets themselves into trouble. They start turning it over, and their offense looks very clunky. So what they're doing is they're passing it into Sam Hybe or Jazz Shelley, and then they get trapped on whatever side they're on. Yeah. They pass it back to whoever inbounded it, and that person immediately looks to pass. They're not dribbling at all. Mm-hmm. And I get that. Maybe you're not the strongest dribbler. You don't want to, turn the ball over or get trapped yourself. But, take 2 dribbles, move it up a little bit, and force them to come towards you, because what they do is they get the ball and they're looking to pass, and everybody's scrambling to try and get open. They force a pass, they turn it over, it leads to an easy bucket for the opposing team.
I think that's sorry, go ahead.
Oh, they just need to figure out a way to get their bigs or switch it so somebody else who is more comfortable dribbling is inbounding the ball. So if you pass it back towards the free throw line, towards the baseline, you can work on advancing the ball, because you're gonna get called for an 8-second. You're gonna get trapped. All of these things, they're going to happen. You need to figure out a way to break that press.
I think that is an interesting thought. I will say this, like you said, the 2 dribbles, the couple dribbles, you don't want to dribble too much, right? Because they've shown the ability to break the pass, the press just from passing, and that's the best way to do it. Use your passes. Now, with that being said, there's been multiple times, and despite Jazz Shelley being one of the better distributors on the team, there are times where she will swing around when she dribbles on the baseline and throw it cross court without looking, and it's a risk. But you forget about that when she makes the flashy plays time and time again, and we're becoming accustomed to it.
When she makes that pass and it works, you're just like, oh, I forgot about the time she turned it over.
Bingo. Yeah. And so, like, part of yes, obviously there's things where Nebraska, I believe they had 13 turnovers tonight. I don't have the stat sheet pulled up right now, but I think they had 13 turnovers tonight.
Yes.
And I'm sure Amy Williams is sitting here saying, yeah, that's way too many. Once again, though, you can't forget what conference you're in. You're in the extremely physical Big Ten conference, and you're facing teams like Rutgers and Penn State. And despite their records not being 17-4 like Nebraska, or 16-6, or I guess now 17-6 like Maryland is, then you forget that they still are physical and they still play in the same conference you do. And so with that being said, there are things like that you would want to lessen, like the ill-advised passes cross court when you drive baseline and try to kick it back out the other way, the way you just came from. So there are things that this team needs to address. Once again, extremely young. Okay. One senior on the team, and it's Michael Caton, who once again came in tonight off the bench, who is normally going to, bother you with her defense, decided to come in and drain a three in a time that Nebraska needed it, and a time that put Nebraska up by 5 instead of having them up by 2. Like, the players, whether you're a senior or a freshman throughout this whole roster, and it speaks to their depth one more time, they come in, they do their job, and they do what's expected of them. And there's a couple players, or I should say most of them do above it, but because everything's working like a well-oiled machine. Let's go ahead and take a timeout. When we come back, we'll wrap it up. We'll look ahead at what Nebraska women's basketball faces after their 76-61 win against Penn State tonight to improve to 17-4. This is the Nebraska women's basketball postgame show on 93.7 The Ticket.
Here's to days spent roaming, and to sleeping beneath the stars, to casting another line and letting time float by. From Shadron State Park to Indian Cave State Park and every recreation area, historical, and state park in between. Here's to your adventures, your memories. Here's to 100 years of your Nebraska state parks. Plan your next trip today at nebraskaparks100.org. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Dealing with battery problems? America's #1 battery destination is here to help. At AutoZone, we've got the free services to help you start even stronger in those colder temperatures. Like our free battery testing and battery charging. If you're having starting troubles, come into AutoZone. We'll test and charge your battery for free so you can drive with peace of mind in the wintertime. Getting the job done just got easier. Visit your nearest AutoZone today to learn more. Based on data from the NPD Group Incorporated, car care track 12 months ending December 2018.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
My Shiro always goes the extra mile, stretches every dollar, puts others first. But now it's your time, Mom. Get free tips to help boost your retirement savings now at aceyourretirement.org/Shiro.
Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey everybody, it's time for today's STEM tip. Want to know how to make your selfies even better? Okay, let's use science. The best time for photos is golden hour. That's the moment right before the sun sets, when the atmosphere scatters blue and violet wavelengths, making perfect, soft, and golden selfie light to show off that beautiful face of yours. Click. Check out She Can STEM for more inspiration. A message from the Ad Council.
Did you know your air ducts can hold up to 17 pounds of dirt, dust, pet dander, and so much more? John Henry's is here to help make the air you breathe cleaner with a duct cleaning. If you've never had your ducts cleaned, now is the best time, especially if you have pets, someone in the home with allergies or asthma, or you've ever done a renovation. Find out more at jhlincoln.com or give John Henry's a call or text today.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing. Heating and air.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
They say one great thing leads to another, and that's especially true when you visit a Great Clips salon. When you sit down for a haircut with the skilled and friendly stylist at one of our thousands of convenient Great Clips locations, they'll not only make your hair look great, they'll make you feel great too. And that's something you can't help but share with the world. Download our online check-in app today and opt in to get a ready next text when you're up next. Great Clips. It's going to be great.
You can search online for hours to find the best electricians in Lincoln and the surrounding area, but I'll save you time. iElectric has been serving their customers for 30 years for both residential and commercial properties. They're experts in everything electrical, from remodeling to new additions, hot tub installations, electric vehicle chargers or EV chargers, lighting, ceiling fans, and more. iElectric takes jobs from Beatrice to Omaha and all towns, big or small, in between. Call them today at 402-466-6606 or learn more at highelectric.com.
Landmark Implement, your local John Deere dealership, is hosting their annual sprayer clinic at the Buffalo County Fairgrounds in Kearney, Nebraska, February 2nd and 3rd. Landmark Sprayer Clinic offers expansive equipment and technology training on different models of John Deere and Hagie sprayers. Learn about the newest technology, machine maintenance, spray tip selection, and more. We'll be offering free dicamba certification. Join us February 2nd and 3rd in Kearney. RSVP by calling your local Landmark location or at landmarkimp.com/events.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? By their clothes, their age, the way they speak? Would you notice a 16-year-old boy who got his first job,
not for extra spending money, but to help feed his little sisters?
or a mother who's in between jobs and sometimes goes to bed hungry so her kids can have dinner? Or a 14-year-old girl who signs up to every after-school activity, not to make friends, but just to get something to eat? Or a retiree who fell ill and had to choose
between getting medicine or groceries.
I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. People you pass by every day but never knew were hungry. I am hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Banks Strong, and the Ad Council.
If you're worried your friend may be struggling, remember, you don't have to be there to be there.
You could say, how are you, or get a fake tattoo. You can ask with an app if it works for you. You could write them a text or knit them a sweater. If you can't be together, you could write them a letter. Whatever gets you talking. Whatever gets you talking. You could chat on the game, kick off your flip-flops. You could ask on your couch while you binge watch. However you do it, you gotta ask a friend. And if they don't share, you can ask again. Whatever gets you talking. Whatever gets you talking.
Reach out to a friend about their mental health. Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, and the JED Foundation.
Now back to the Husker women's basketball postgame show on 93.7 The Ticket.
Back here one final time until we send you off with the rest of your Thursday night, get you ready for Friday. All right, so Nebraska women's basketball improves to 17-4 on the season, 6-4 in the Big Ten Conference. They travel to Maryland for their next game, College Park. And Maryland is 17-6 after a 5-point win at Michigan State, 67-62. They win. I should say they're 16-6, excuse me. So Nebraska, some of the wins that Maryland has had, they beat number 6 Baylor at home, 79-66 or 79-76, excuse me, early on in the year. They lost to NC State, who's ranked number 5, 78-60, and Stanford, who was ranked number 7 at the time, 86-68. They've beaten Miami, Rutgers, Purdue, Penn State, Minnesota. They lost on the road, or they lost to Michigan at home by 20, 69-49. That's a blaring loss there.
Remember what Nebraska did to Michigan?
Yeah, so that just means direct correlation.
Obviously. Nebraska beats Maryland by 25.
Maryland also played South Carolina on the road in Columbia. Number 1.
How about
South Carolina lose? By 7, 66-59. So this is definitely a team that Nebraska's going to be tested.
It's one of the better scoring offenses in the Big Ten, in the country, really. Mm-hmm. So Nebraska's defense, that defense that we laud as being so great and so fantastic and so well put together and a one well-oiled machine, is going to be tested by this Maryland offense.
Well, so what's interesting is if you're Nebraska, this is, we mentioned a couple days ago, this is kind of a stretch, or the stretch that you kind of felt like you could get 4 wins, and they did exactly that, right? They did their job. Wisconsin, Purdue, Rutgers, and Penn State. So you did your job once again, like you have been doing most of the season tonight after a win against Penn State. Now you get into a stretch with a couple games, 3 out of your 4 games are going to be with ranked teams. At Maryland, at Ohio State, you go on the road once again to at Illinois for your next 3 games before returning home on Valentine's Day, February 14th on Monday, to where you play currently ranked number 5 as Rico's phone drops.
Sign's probably broken.
Currently ranked 5th in the country, the Indiana Hoosiers at home.
A team you lost to at Indiana, 65-72.
Remember,
January 13th.
that was the game also that Sam Hybe went out early with her injury. So there's that. That was also part of another, that was in the middle, or that was also another road stand or a road trip where they played Iowa then, and you played 6th ranked Indiana, right? Lost 72-65, like Rico said.
That was your rough stretch.
Yes. Then it was Iowa. It was in the middle of that 3-game losing streak when you played Iowa twice and Indiana once. So then, but that's all I'm saying. Like, if you're Nebraska, you face Maryland on the road, who's currently ranked, they're current ranked. And then you face Ohio State on the road, who's 22nd in the country. You already beat Illinois in this season. And then you face Indiana. So 3 of your next 4, this is where you find out who you are. How deep can you go? How prepared are you for this postseason? And if you're a Nebraska fan and you follow this Husker women's basketball team pretty closely, you feel confident that they're able to take one of these. Like, I would not be surprised at all if Nebraska goes out on Sunday afternoon and puts the stop to Maryland. Like, just runs through Maryland.
I would be surprised if they ran through Maryland. I wouldn't be surprised if they won by 10 points.
Then maybe that's a better way to explain
it. If they run through Maryland, I would be pleasantly surprised. I would expect a massive game from either Markowski or Shelley.
Yeah. Like, it's really interesting. We'll be there at around 2 p.m. to bring it to you guys. The post-game show, I should say. Tip off for that one's at noon. That'll do it for us tonight. Once again, Nebraska improves to 17-4 on the season with a 76-61 win at home over Penn State. Talk to you guys with early break with Sip and Jake at 6 a.m. Have a good rest of your night.
Need to send a message? Send it with cake. Congratulations. Here's a congratulations chocolate rum cake from Beatrice Bakery. Thank you.